Hey, this is Rick from Hiking Emergency Beacon, and today I'm in my studio, and normally you see me out on the trail, but today I'm looking at a new trail app called Natural Atlas, and I'm going to have a playlist on this because there's a lot of things that are here, and I'm going to just test this out over the next weeks and months. But I wanted to start out with what my initial impression is. But before we get into all that, please like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so you'll be alerted as soon as I put out new videos. So first of all, let me just give you a brief rundown of the basics of what I know about Natural Atlas. It's really about nature, but it could be about hunting, fishing, hiking. It could be about geology, about the rock formations or plants or animals that you see. And so when you're going out and you're enjoying these places and you see things other people would like, if you take pictures or take notes and document or record where you're at, then that is uploaded and then other people can then communicate with you or see where you are at, and people can follow you and you can follow others. So I wouldn't say that is the official line of what Natural Atlas is, but that's kind of what my take on it is so far. And what's really great is, as I started looking at it, is one of the first things I've seen is the maps are so easy to jump back and forth between here. And I'm going to show you, well, down at the bottom, let me just go through some basics here real fast. So down at the bottom you have maps, you have plans, nature, community, and then me, my profile. So it kind of gives you things too under my profile of a checklist of things to do, so that it kind of helps you connect with the community and get you out and doing things. But when I was first looking at this, I was looking at the maps and I was really impressed with something here. And so I'm in Colorado, as most of you know. But many times, so Mike and I from Mike and Rick Outdoors, we're out hunting or fishing and camping. But then myself from Hiking Emergency Beacon, I'm out testing these satellite messengers or communicators. And then I'm also out camping. So sometimes when Mike and I are out fishing, I'll be doing some testing on the satellite communicators. And then I always have them with me just in case I need to communicate with somebody or something goes bad. But one thing I've always had a problem with is when you're out in some place, because Mike and I like to go more rural, whether it's rural camping or rugged or remote camping. So we're not at a campground. We don't have facilities. There may be outhouses nearby sometimes, but there's no running water. You can't reserve a spot. You're just going out and sometimes you're wondering, because you'll go down the road and you're like, okay, well, am I on private land, or am I on national forest or BLM land? And so I'm confused a lot of times, and it's very difficult to figure out about where you can camp at, because we're pulling off and we're going up these canyons and these valleys, and we're looking at great places to camp, but we want to make sure we're on public land. So when I was looking at this, and there's all these different maps here. There's Natural Atlas Topo, Natural Atlas Public Lands, there's Natural Geology, Global Topo, and then it goes to down here, it says Natural Atlas Satellite Topo, Natural Atlas Satellite Public Lands, and then an NAIP, which I'm not sure what that is right now. But just to show you real quick, the Natural Atlas Topo, I'm going to go out to a location where I've had issues with knowing if I'm on public or private land. There's one of them that's about fishing. That's a real bad one, but I'll show that on Mike and Rick Outdoors, or fishing with Mike and Rick Outdoors. Not that it's bad, but it's really hard to figure out, if you want to go fishing, are you trespassing, or you have public access to the river. But I'm going to go out here to 11 Mile Lake. Now 11 Mile Lake itself is surrounded by, it's a state park. So there's no issues there, but you would have to get reservations to camp there. And I'm going to, again, if I haven't said this already, I am going to share my screen. I have screenshots up. But along the river, now in this place along this river, 11 Mile Canyon, there are public or private, not private campgrounds, but they're campgrounds owned by the state, and you have to get reservations. But then you can go off-road and you can be rural camping. But so let me just show you real quick. There is a road up here, and this is where Mike and I have gone to, and we were camping. And this is one thing, like right now, I'm going to show you a screenshot, and right across the way there's a campground run by the state, I believe. If I can click on it here, does it give me information? Yeah. So it says Springer Gulch Campground, and it's in the Pikes National Forest. And if I click on that, it just shows me where it's at. Can I get more information? And I can give it a heart, or I like it. And campground on South Platte River in Pikes National Forest, Rocky Mountains, Front Range, Lake George Forest Service Station. And you can print maps, save outline a map, get directions. Cove Campground is what it's called. And then you can get information here. There's another one nearby, Spillway Campground. So if I click on the campground real quick, it shows where it's at, but I'm not seeing where to get a whole lot more information. But that's not the point of this video. This is just a basic introduction, but I really want to show you one thing in particular about this map. So right across the way, there's a gravel road or dirt road that goes, way up, and it's like I know there that it's public lands because I've talked to the service station of service rangers out there. And what's great though, I can go back and I can go to the maps at the very top left. There's you can click on maps there, and I can then select the Natural Atlas Public Lands. And this is where it shows you if you're on public lands or private. So now there's a color here. I'm going to zoom out for a second, and you'll be able to see all the same information, but now you can see where there's BLM land, private land, national forest. So if you click on something here, say I'm going to click on it, actually says it. So I'm going to take a screenshot here. I'm going to click on it. Now on the map it says BLM. Down below, what it says is ranch in Rocky Mountains, Front Range, near Hartzell Ranch. Okay, but it's still BLM land. Now I could go over to where I wanted to go camping, across from the Springer Gulch Campground, and here it's all shaded green. If I click anywhere in this area, it says Wagon Tongue Reservoir, and it says Reservoir in Pikes National Forest. So I'm really confident that I'm on public lands here, because I can go to another place over by the lake, and if I click on it, then it's going to say something like, so it says Midland Trail. I selected a spot here. It says Midland Trail, but I believe this is actually a state park. I know it is. It's a state park. But if I click on another white area, it says Stoll Mountain Campground. So again, I'm still getting information. There's another one here. Let me click on this back here. It says Colorado State, Stoll Mountain Campground. There is a campground over here. And then there's a blue area here, and I think it's Colorado State. But then you can also go other places where it should be private. And if you click on it, but again, it says Rocky Mountain National Forest. But you can see here from what I'm showing you already that there's areas that show up, and you could tell they're in the National Forest or the BLM or the Colorado State. And so when I want to go over here and I want to consider camping, and I look all around here, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and this is where you can tell there's an area that has a bunch of roads in it, and it's probably private, and it's probably a bunch of cabins, etc. And it's Wagon Tongue Reservoir, and if I click on that, it says Wagon Tongue Reservoir in Pikes National Forest, but I believe this is private. So when it's white, even if it doesn't always tell you exactly it's private, you can get a real good feel if it's private or public. And so the area that Mike and I were camping at this summer when we went fishing up here is all green. It says it's National Forest. It's Pikes National Forest. So this is really awesome. I really love it. The nice thing is here, I want to show you this real quick. You can go to the Natural Atlas Geology. And there's just different geology. So here it says granite rocks of 1,400 million years ago. There's another one here, rocks of Pikes Peak batholite, 1,000. It says MY. I'm thinking that's a million years, but not sure. But you can see all this geology. It's really incredible. But what I really want to show you now at the very end is the Natural Atlas Satellite Topo. So when I click on that, I'm going to go back to where I was just now. Okay, well, this is going to be perfect. It shows you the difference. So on this, where it's a satellite topo, it just shows you streets. It shows you the campground information and all that, which is awesome. But if I go down to Natural Atlas Satellite Public Lands, that's the one I really like, because I go back into the same spot and all of a sudden there is all the stuff that's highlighted, all these different areas. And now I'm going to zoom in to the area where Mike and I went camping. And now there's different things that are highlighted, and they're surrounded by a green outline. So if I click on this one, it says it's the Wagon Tongue Reservoir. If I click on another area over here, it says same thing. It's a Wagon Tongue Reservoir, but there's these different boxes. And now I'm going to click on this other one that I think might be private. It says both Colorado State and National Forest. But there's more that I'm going to do on this. I'm going to do more in-depth training on all this, so I will cover this more later on all the different maps. But there's more that it can do and all about nature and things like that. But I just wanted to give you my first impression. I really like these maps, and I'm going to say something about Garmin here that you may not like. I can get the hunting maps of North America or North Central, wherever you're at, and I can download those maps. Guess what? They cost about $90. And right here, it's way less money. So I'll put some information up on the screen about the cost. But there's different ways to use your technology. And I love having the satellite communicators with me, because I can communicate outside cell service. And I love those, and that's why I have this website. But you don't always have to have GPS or maps, or you could, because you can use things like AllTrails or Natural Atlas, and there's many others, and I don't use them all, so I am not really up on them. But you can navigate and find trails without having a satellite communicator. But when you have both, then you can now find your way around. You can communicate, call SOS, but then you can also see if you're on public and private lands. And I've got some information. I actually just bought, $90 for the hunting atlas for where I'm at here in Colorado. I think it might be actually North America or the US. And yes, I paid that money for it, but I'm going to compare it to the Natural Atlas, because I have all that information in my pocket on my phone, and then also on my GPS Map 66i, I now have access to it there. So I'm going to be bringing you a lot of information and still comparing things, whether it's from Garmin or ACR Bivy Stick or some trail maps or apps. And I'm going to continue doing what I've always done. I'm going to compare, I'm going to review and test them out in the trails. You'll see me out here in the trails soon with looking at how you get around on the trail, and how you maybe see an elk or something, and you take a picture and you describe things, and it's so other people can also know where you're at and see and get out and experience nature also. All right, that's all you need to hear so far. It's just an introduction. And I really like it so far. I like the Natural Atlas app. And I don't know if it's called a trail app or not, but it's not just for hiking. It can be for all kinds of activities, and hunting and fishing and all kinds of different things. Again, I'm going to bring the training to you in a playlist. You'll start seeing that over the next weeks coming out. So thanks for joining me here on Hiking Emergency Beacon, and I will see you in the next video.